What's up, people of YouTube? I'm Karsatowski, and welcome back to the Karsatowski Bowling YouTube channel. So in today's bowling breakdown, we have the 1992 PBA Florida Open. So, let's get on to the title match. Alright, the title match of the 92 PBA Florida Open featuring Bob Vespi versus Chris Warren. This title match takes place in Winter Haven, Florida, which is a very interesting town for a Florida town. I gotta tell you that much. Like, I don't know, Somerville, Florida would be a little bit better. Oh, that's a light mixer from Chris Warren. So Chris Warren has actually gone all the way from the first match to the title match against Bob Vespi. And Chris Warren has a pretty good amount of history on the PBA Tour. He's won 5 tour titles in his career, but his real legacy is on the regional tour, where I believe he is tied for second all-time in regional titles with Pete Weber at 48, I believe. And the number 1 leader, Walter A. Williams Jr. with 50, is the leader in PBA 50 in PBA regional titles as well. So Walter has the most national titles, regional titles, and PBA 50 titles. And Chris Warren is right up there with Walter Ray on the regional side. And Chris is going up against the Florida native, Florida resident, Bob Vespi. Bob Vespi has himself a pair of strikes to open up. He's got a little bit of a lower backswing. This is really a period of time where you see a lot of players having a little bit of a lower backswing so they can have time to cup their wrist and elbow to have a lot more power. And Chris Warren kind of reminds me a little bit of E.J. Tackett, and he's a really small guy, but he's able to generate a lot of ball speed and a lot of power. And 30 years after this title match, he still has pretty similar ball speed and power. And he's still probably like 130 pounds, if that much. And Chris also kind of looks the same too. He's pretty much got about the same hairline as well, and the same mustache going on. So he's been rocking that for more than 35 years. He has also had some success on the PBA 50 tour as well, winning the PBA 50 Senior Masters a few years ago, defeating Norm Duke in that title match. It's a great shot from Chris Warren. Okay, Bob Vespi has an opening double, so let's see if he can maintain his lead. Nice shot. That ball just checks up a little high. It looks like he threw that one a bit slower. Oh, taking care of that back pin. Oh boy. Well, good job on that. That's basically the most difficult spare on the PBA Tour, except the 10-pin wasn't left with it. Well, that ball never hooks. Alright, so split going on here. Okay. That one, it almost looks like there's a little bit of oil that has been carried over on the right side, making it difficult for the bowling ball to recover. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I would just went it hard and straight, because on these sport shots, even back then, you don't know where that ball's going to go if we try to hook at it. Honestly, that kind of looks like Donald Trump with abs. It's not in front of a lake this time, though. Okay, Chris Warren is back up, and he's looking to increase his lead by 17. Oh, his ball did something very similar to what Vespi's ball did, except that he got 9 instead of 7. So there's definitely a hook spot down that lane. And that is the view from the backside. So while he's going for the spare, the machine collects the pins for the next rack. Could you imagine how much slower that would be if there wasn't already a rack in the machine already? Basically, for every bowling lane, there's technically 20 pins available at one time, so that if you throw a strike, you know, there's a fresh rack already up there. So, because that would take forever if there were only 10 pins on one lane. It's a big 4. Yeah, getting it in a little bit. It looks like these lanes are pretty tight. Yep. Yeah, both players have gone high on this lane and left splits. Yeah, the left lane definitely looks to be a little bit tighter. They might need to move considerably in these next few shots. That's going to affect count a little bit for Chris Warren. And none of these players really have a good understanding of how they need to play these lanes right now. Chris obviously has bowled 3 matches prior to this, and Bob Vespi is fresh from the chair. He gets him a very light mixer. He's up by 10 pins. Well, if he can get a double, he can increase his lead by 20, and that would essentially force Chris Warren to get the next 3 strikes to get back to even, And there you go. All right, Chris Warren needs the next 3 strikes to catch up. Oh my goodness, that was such a good shot. Oh. Man, you know, in these bowling breakdowns, we haven't seen too many ring 10s like that. That is wild. It's absolutely wild. Hoo boy. Okay, well, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Chris Warren to catch up now, because now he'll have to get 3 consecutive strikes, frame 7, 8, and 9. Oh, the tighter of the 2 lanes. So it looks like he moves a lot further right and tries to go up the lane a little bit more, but it looks like that there's so much carry down that the ball just cannot recover, and it leaves double wood. And Bob Vespi looks like that he's in cruise control almost. As long as Bob doesn't leave another big split, I think he might be all right, because Chris Warren is going light and going high on that left lane. That lane is going to be his undoing if he doesn't figure something out in the next few frames. Oh, he got that one way right. Oh my goodness. I have seen this picked up on TV about 3 different times. I watched Dick Allen do this in one of the most epic ways ever, And then Pete Weber do it a very similar way. And I seen Anthony Simonson going about this at a backup ball. And the backup ball was not really popular this time, so that's just not an option. He nailed double wood though for count, and he's still in the lead. But that right there is going to give Chris Warren a little bit of breathing room. Oh, Kelly Kaufman. A few females bowled on the PBA Tour around this time too. It wasn't quite as common at this time as it would prove to be in the 2000s, when bowlers like Michelle Feldman, Kelly Kulick, and Liz Johnson would have a lot of success in the 2000s. Before the PWBA got back together. Oh, now that was the hard way of getting it. That was the hard way. And he knows it. 3-6-10, a lot of ways to miss it, and really only about 2 ways to make it. Okay, so Chris Warren goes pretty straight on that lane. Has a nice shot on the right lane, but this left lane is really what's giving him a lot of problems. Now, fortunately, he does not have to finish on this left lane, but he still needs to get a strike to be up by 3 pins. Yeah, he decides to go straighter here, and that was a good call. Yeah, that was a very good call. That really was about the only way he was going to strike on that lane, is if he ended up doing the exact same thing as he was doing on the right lane. And now Bob Vespi basically really needs to strike out here, because whatever he does in the 9th and 10th frame, he cannot shut out Chris Warren, and that is a pretty gnarly messenger. Yeah, if he didn't carry that hit, then it would have been a little bit easier for Chris Warren to step up in the 10th frame and steal this title. Yeah, so if Bob Vespi gets all 3 strikes in the 10th frame, then Chris Warren will need the first 2 and 8 on the fill shot to win this title. So Bob Vespi is going to need another hit here, and preferably at least 9 to give him the best count possible. I mean, he really only needs the next strike. But count is pretty important here, because I think he'll need to get at least 3 on his fill. He'll need this strike in the 11th frame, and then at least 3 on the fill shot. There you go, slap out that 10 pin. Now he needs at least 3 pins on the fill shot to force Chris Warren to get a double to win. There's a lot on this shot right here, because count is extremely important. And he's left a couple splits this game, so, you know, getting 3's not terribly difficult, but he still preferred to get at least 9 or better. And he gets the best count you can go for at 10, so there you go. Bob Vespi came from behind to finish off with a ham bone to force Chris Warren to get the first 2 strikes in the 10th frame. He needs 2 strikes and 8 pins to win. Oh, dead flush. All right, well, that lane has been the good lane to him. Bob Vespi did everything that he could do. And now it's up to Chris Warren. Oh, 9 pins to win, not 8 pins. Okay, so it was actually 8 pins to tie and 9 to win. There you go. There you go. Wow, look at that. Okay, situation. If he gets 8 pins, we have a tie and we'll go for a roll-off, which I'm not sure if I've ever seen a roll-off anytime before the 2000s. And he'll need 9 to win by 1. Oh, yeah, I was right before. It is 8 pins to win. Trip 4 to win. There you go. Who is he yelling at? Yeah, he's got the fire like E.J. Tackett and Pete Weber for sure. In the same stature pretty much. But you know what? A lot of the better players in PBA history are players who really know how to use their full body to get their bowling balls to do what they need to do. The intensity bowlers are the ones that are the more fun bowlers to watch. Well, that was a great title match right there. That was a good one. Well, Chris Warren was clutch in the 10th frame to take advantage of Bob Vespi's ham bone to finish off and win the 1992 Florida Open. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed that title match, and if you want to watch any more of these, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any videos. I'm Karsatowski. Keep watching my content, and I'll see you in that next video. See ya!